This is KGW News at 5.
Well, we begin with breaking news tonight. Police are responding to a person in crisis on the Marquand Bridge near downtown Portland. That means several roads are blocked, including parts of I-405, I-5 North, and Southwest Moody. This is a live look at the backup on the I-405 ramp to the Marquand Bridge. Traffic's being diverted onto I-5 South for the time being. Now to our top story, where the Federal Aviation Administration has temporarily grounded certain Boeing 737 MAX 9 aircrafts. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm John Adams. Now this comes after an emergency landing Friday evening in Portland when an entire section of a plane blew out mid-flight. Our Sydney Dorner spoke with the pilot to get some insight into why this happened with the plane, certified less than 3 months ago.
Yes, John, the Alaska Airlines flight was departing from Portland and headed towards Ontario, California, when pilots were forced to land just 5 minutes after takeoff. No one was hurt during that emergency landing. Now the Federal Aviation Administration is investigating and grounding certain 737 MAX 9 aircrafts like the one that blew out.
This wasn't even the emergency door. We're at the end of the plane, so the emergency door is right there. It was just a piece of the plane.
The Alaska Airlines flight was headed from PDX to Ontario, California around 5 p.m. Friday evening when passengers heard a loud bang and saw a hole in the side of the plane. We spoke to the passenger who took that video on board. She says no one was sitting in the window seat of that row, but a mother and child were in the aisle, and the boy's shirt and some belongings were sucked out of the plane.
And they were able to get to safety, thankfully. But when I looked up, the son, his shirt is off, it flew off, and his skin is very red. I'm assuming it was irritated from the wind or the cold since we are up in the air. And I heard that the mom had to drag her son back inside.
Greg Morris, a commercial pilot for over 20 years, says every training cycle, both pilots and flight attendants prepare for the inevitable, but adds it's concerning a plane that just went into service in November would have an issue like this.
It is a fairly new aircraft on the line with Alaska Airlines. That aircraft that had that event yesterday is under a year old. We should not be seeing aircraft structural defects with an aircraft that new.
The FAA is now requiring inspections on 171 of these Boeing airplanes worldwide. Morris has not examined the plane that was damaged. He did have one theory as to what may have happened. He says these planes have composite inlets to surround their engines.
And they have found that this material, when heated to an extreme point with the engine anti-ice equipment, that composite material has been demonstrated to break off. Parts of it have. And that can lead to parts going back and hitting the fuselage.
But there's no word from investigators yet if that was the case here. Morris says incidents like this also emphasize how important it is that passengers listen to flight instructions.
Where those emergency exits are, in front of you or behind you. And when we get into an emergency situation, as rare as that might be, the lights can go out, smoke can fill a cabin, and so as a passenger, there's several things that you have to take into account.
Please stay in your seats with your seatbelt securely fastened until you are told to stand up. Thank you.
Once on the ground, passengers praised the crew for getting them back safely.
Everything went swell. Like I said, the cabin crew did an excellent job. Pilot did a great job. Can't say anything bad about them at all.
Alaska Airlines inspected more than a quarter of their 737 MAX 9 fleet so far today and say there are no concerning findings. The NTSB is also at PDX now examining the plane. Sydney Dorner, KGW News.
All right, Sydney, thank you. Continues to be a scary story now. And bringing in Joe, usually it's weather that's grounding flights in PDX, Not today.
That's not going to be the case today, but that is just incredible video. Great, story by Sydney. But I can't imagine being on that flight that night, not only seeing it, part of it, fly off, but also try to, stay calm until it lands. But as we look at the forecast, we are going to be looking at some scattered showers the rest of your Saturday night and heading into tomorrow as well. As we take you to the Oregon coast right now, a little bit of some raindrops out there over in Lincoln City from our Chinook Winds beach camera. Temperatures are in the mid-40s, and we'll travel up into the Cascades. This little part here, you can kind of see some lights from the room. Well, that is our Timberline Lodge camera, where they've seen about a half a foot of snow in just the last 24 hours. Well, get this, I'm forecasting another potential of a foot of snow heading into the overnight hours. So yeah, January is looking to be the good winter, or the good month so far this winter, where we've been looking at some heavy snow, and it's going to continue. Long-range models suggest that there could be as much as 4, maybe 5 feet of snow from tonight all the way into the end of next week. I'll talk more about that in detail in a few minutes, but looking at the radar, we do have some scattered showers moving into the metro area right now, also picking up a little bit of a mix of rain and snow throughout the coast range as well. So be ready for some winter driving throughout the higher elevations around the valley, especially in the metro area. So far, we're looking at close to an inch of rain over in McMinnville. It's definitely be a wet start to the first weekend of the new year, first weekend of January. And heading into the next few days, we don't get much in terms of dry weather, but I am focusing heading into the later part of this next week, I should say, with some very cold air and some dropping snow levels. I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
All right, Joe, thank you. We'll check with you here in a little bit. Well, now to an update on a more than 5-hour-long standoff that ended peacefully with a suspect in custody in the Hazelwood neighborhood. Portland police say the suspect has been identified as Stephen Sherrill. PPB says it all started just after 10 o'clock last night. Police responded to the calls of a man pointing a gun at people in a restaurant parking lot along Southeast Stark. When police arrived, the man retreated to the breezeway of a nearby apartment building. The crisis negotiation team and CERT were both called in while neighbors were evacuated. Sherrill eventually surrendered just before 3:30. He's now in police custody and facing charges. And Gresham police are also looking into a shooting that left one person dead. This is video of the scene from earlier this morning on East Burnside and Southeast 188th Avenue. That's where they found one person shot. They were taken to the hospital where they later died. Officers later found out the person had been involved in multiple physical disturbances prior to that shooting. The person who fired the shot called police and was interviewed, but no arrests were made. And in Vancouver, police have opened a homicide investigation after they found one man dead early this morning. Vancouver police say they were called out to the intersection of East 18th and Bryant Street for reports of a man shot. When they got there, police say they found a 22-year-old man unresponsive on the sidewalk. Officers tried to revive him, but he died at the scene. No word on a suspect.